Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. Steps have been taken to establish a presidential task force to promote green social economy. Sri Lanka registers 2,573 new COVID cases. 26 COVID-19 deaths reported in Sri Lanka yesterday. 1,148 more recoveries reported in Sri Lanka. President calls for provincial travel restrictions until the 30th of May. The drone unit of the Police Special Task Force will commence its traffic operations from today. On news overseas, dozens of bodies wash up on banks. In sports, India are set to play 3 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals in Sri Lanka in July. Local news in detail. Steps have been taken to establish a presidential task force to promote green social economy. The proposed task force will be headed by Basil Rajapaksa. The task force will consist of 46 members, including 5 cabinet ministers, provincial governors, 14 state ministers, and few parliamentarians. The task force will look into climate change anomalies, sustainable development, promoting green economy, and solutions to problems relating to agriculture and fishing industry. A cabinet paper submitted in this regard by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has been approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. The Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry reported yesterday that another 992 persons have been tested positive for COVID-19 in Sri Lanka, moving the daily total of new cases to 2,573. This brings the total number of confirmed cases of coronavirus reported in the country to 128,479. As many as 105,611 recoveries and 801 deaths have been confirmed in Sri Lanka since the outbreak of the pandemic. The epidemiology unit's data showed that 22,067 active cases are currently under medical care. The Director General of Health Services yesterday confirmed another 26 deaths that occurred during the period from 3rd to 10th May due to COVID-19 virus infection. Accordingly, the total number of deaths due to COVID-19 infection in Sri Lanka is 827 by now. The victims reported include a 3-month-old infant from Wattegama who had passed away due to COVID pneumonia and multi-organ dysfunction, and a 36-year-old youth from Hettipola. The cause of death of the latter is mentioned as acute COVID pneumonia and diabetes. The Ministry of Health reports that 1,148 more patients who were treated for COVID-19 have recovered and have been discharged from hospitals within the last 24 hours. This increases the total number of coronavirus recoveries in the country to 105,611. Sri Lanka has so far reported 125,906 positive cases of COVID-19, while presently a total of 19,494 infected patients are being treated at hospitals and treatment centers. The death toll due to the virus has risen to 827. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news.
People's Bank Isuru Udana gift certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
Continuing with more stories here at home. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has advised the relevant authorities to impose travel restrictions among provinces. The restrictions are to be imposed until the 30th of May 2021, President's Media Division stated. President's media spokesman Kingsley Ratnayake, issuing a statement yesterday, stated that President Rajapaksa arrived at several decisions to curb the spread of COVID-19 virus in the country after holding discussions with all stakeholders. Accordingly, relevant authorities have been advised to implement the measures to impose travel restrictions between all provinces, to cancel all public gatherings and functions, to limit the number of people who can enter and remain inside commercial establishments, isolation of areas where infection rates are high. However, the President has also emphasized that proper procedures should be followed to ensure that the daily lives of the people are not disrupted and the essential services are maintained when implementing these strategies. The drone unit of the Police Special Task Force will commence its traffic operations from today. The aim of this project is to reduce the traffic congestion in the Colombo city and nab the drivers who violate traffic rules. The drone camera operations will be carried out in Gaul Road, High Level Road, Parliament Road, and Nigambu Road. The latest technology, including drone camera, is expected to give accurate information about the ground situation in a very short time so that an effective traffic plan could be implemented to ease the traffic congestion. That's on local news.
Your sister got him the most valuable gift of all.
My family will do anything for our child's future.
People's Bank Isuru Udana gift certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidamahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidamahatmya.
The government says that the inoculation program is successfully implemented at present. The program targeting Colombo, Kalutara and Gampaha districts is also implemented successfully. More than 935,000 persons have been given the first dose of COVID jab at present. Around 200,000 persons have been given the second dose of AstraZeneca vaccine. AstraZeneca, Sputnik V and Sinopharm vaccines are being given to the people in this country at present. Meanwhile, the number of Sri Lanka's COVID-19 cases passes 127,000 with a confirmation of 1,581 new infections thus far. Accordingly, the country's total coronavirus cases rose to 127,487. 21,075 individuals are currently being treated for the virus, with 1,249 suspected cases under observation.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And on Watchlight, the commuters complain that long-distance buses are not available after 8 p.m. Only few buses are available to some selected destinations. This has caused immense difficulties to the commuters travelling from city limits to outside districts. This is for the attention of the Western Province Passenger Transport Authority that came to you on Watchlight. World News headlines. Dozens of bodies wash up on banks of Ganges River. Pfizer vaccine authorized by US FDA for adolescents. NBC refuses to air Golden Globes over lack of diversity. World News in detail. Officials say the bodies of at least 40 people have washed up on the banks of the river in northern India. The discovery near the border between the states of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh was confirmed. It is not clear how the bodies came to be there, but local media reports suggest they may be COVID-19 victims. Some media reports says as many as 100 bodies have been found and that their conditions suggest they may have been in the river for several days. The US has authorized the Pfizer vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds amid a push to get the shot into more Americans' arms. The Food and Drug Administration said it was a significant step in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. FDA Commissioner Dr. Janet Woodcock said the move was aimed at bringing us close to returning to a sense of normalcy and to ending the pandemic. Some 260 million doses have been given in the US, but demand has been falling. Finally, on world news, US cable network NBC is the latest media giant to boycott the Hollywood Foreign Press Association over a lack of diversity. NBC, which has aired the Golden Globes Awards ceremony since 1996, said it would not broadcast the show in 2022 and wants to see meaningful reform. Warner Media, Netflix and Amazon Studios have already refused to participate in the HFPA-related events. The Golden Globes are second only to the Oscars in terms of profile. That's on world news. Moving on to development news. 40 small industry sectors will be developed in the southern province. A sum of 2.7 million rupees has been set aside for this purpose. The project is implemented by the Industrial Ministry of the Southern Province.
Sports News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Sports news: cricket. India is set to play 3 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals in Sri Lanka in July, but it will almost certainly be a second-string side that will appear, with many of India's top-flight players likely to be in the UK on test duty. According to the proposed itinerary from Sri Lanka Cricket, which has been seen by ESPN Cricinfo, 3 ODIs will be played on the 13th of July, 16th and also the 19th, followed by T20 internationals on the 22nd, 24th and 27th of July.
My wife always sets a full lunch table even if it's just the 2 of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Sri Lankan Cares, the CSR arm of Sri Lankan Airlines, fulfilling an acute need of the hour due to the prevailing pandemic, donated a batch of ventilators to the National Hospital, Colombo recently. When the country witnesses a surge in the numbers of COVID-19 patients as the main and final referral centre of the island, the National Hospital is faced with the challenge of having sufficient resources in place to provide medical care for incoming patients. That's on Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
And on economic news, Sri Lanka's foreign reserves increased to $4.5 billion in April 2021, supported by the $500 million loan from China Development Bank, improving reserves from $4.1 billion in March 2021, lowest since August 2009. Depleting foreign reserve position, high foreign currency debt repayment, which is $4 billion outstanding debt payment from April to December 2021 requirement, and limited funding sources available in the market are expected to further increase pressure on yields in the second half of 2021. That's on economic news. Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And on the weather update, the Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in Sabragamo, Central, Western, Over and Eastern provinces and in Gaul, Madara, Polonnaruwa and Mullaitivu districts during the evening or night. Heavy falls, about 100 millimeters, can be expected at some places in these areas. Showers or thunder showers may occur in coastal areas of the western and southern provinces, particularly during the morning too. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this morning at 4:30 a.m. Further details can be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasir, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
To conclude the bulletin of news, the headlines once again. Steps have been taken to establish a presidential task force to promote green social economy. Sri Lanka registers 2,573 new COVID cases yesterday. 26 COVID-19 deaths reported in Sri Lanka yesterday. 1,148 more recoveries reported in Sri Lanka. President calls for provincial travel restrictions until the 30th of May. The drone unit of Police Special Task Force will commence its traffic operations from today. News overseas, dozens of bodies wash up on banks of the Ganges River. And in sports, India are set to play 3 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals in Sri Lanka in July. With that, we conclude the bulletin of news.